Did you know that the man who would become one of the world's most famous emperors, Napoleon Bonaparte, was actually born into a relatively minor noble family? Yes, the enigma that is Napoleon Bonaparte begins in the rocky island of Corsica, a place as rugged and untamed as the young boy would prove to be. Napoleon's story starts in the year 1769, just after the island was transferred from the Republic of Genoa to French control. Born as Napoleone di Bonaparte, he was the second of 8 surviving children to Carlo Bonaparte and his wife Letizia. His father, despite being of minor nobility, was an active political lawyer who pushed for Corsican independence. This was an environment that would shape young Napoleon, instilling in him a fierce ambition and a keen sense for politics. When he was just 9 years old, Napoleon was sent to mainland France for his education. He attended the Autumn Military Academy and later the prestigious Brienne Military School. Despite his Corsican accent and his lower social standing compared to his classmates, Napoleon excelled in his studies. His intellect was matched by his determination, and soon he was admitted to the elite École Militaire in Paris. Yet Napoleon was more than just an ambitious student. His classmates often noted his exceptional leadership qualities. He was a natural strategist with an insatiable appetite for history, particularly the military exploits of the ancient world. It was clear even then that Napoleon was not merely content with learning about the world, he wanted to shape it. His education was cut short when his father, Carlo, passed away. At the tender age of 15, Napoleon returned to Corsica to become the head of his family. But the island could not contain his ambition for long. He entered the French army at 16, marking the beginning of his meteoric rise in the tumultuous world of French politics and warfare. And so, a young boy from a minor noble family began his journey. A journey that would change the world. From the military academy to the heart of a revolution, Napoleon's rise wasn't just about luck. It was a tale of ambition, strategy, and unyielding determination. Born into a family of minor Corsican nobility, Napoleon's journey to power began when he was sent to mainland France to study at the prestigious military academy in Brienne. His early years at the academy were marked by loneliness and isolation, but they also shaped his character, honing his strategic mind and cultivating his unwavering resolve. As Napoleon climbed the ranks of the military academy, a storm was brewing in France. The French Revolution was on the horizon, a tumultuous period that would reshape the nation and provide an unexpected opportunity for the young Corsican. In the midst of the turmoil, Napoleon emerged as a promising leader, displaying a strategic prowess that was beyond his years. He won his first major victory at the Siege of Toulon, a pivotal moment that catapulted him into the limelight and earned him the rank of brigadier general at the tender age of 24. However, it was the coup of 18 Brumaire that marked the real turning point in Napoleon's rise to power. Displaying deft political maneuvering and charismatic leadership, he seized control of the French government, effectively ending the French Revolution. With this daring move, Napoleon had secured his position at the helm of French politics, but his insatiable ambition yearned for more. His strategic genius and charisma had catapulted him to the forefront of French politics, but his ambition was far from satisfied. The stage was set for the next chapter in the remarkable saga of Napoleon Bonaparte, a chapter that would see him crowned as the Emperor of the French, marking the beginning of a new era in European history. The reign of Napoleon Bonaparte, a period of sweeping reforms and relentless warfare. This era began in 1804 when Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France, a title he held until 1814. Napoleon's reign was marked by significant reforms in law, education, and administration. One of his most enduring legacies is the Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive set of civil laws that served as the foundation for many legal systems around the world. It emphasized equality before the law, and secured the rights of property owners, which were revolutionary concepts at the time. In education, Napoleon created a centralized system that was accessible to more than just the elite. He established lycées or secondary schools across France, fostering a merit-based system that allowed talented students to rise to the top, regardless of their socio-economic background. Napoleon also reformed the administration, introducing a more efficient tax collection system and establishing the Bank of France. These changes stabilized the economy and allowed for the funding of public projects, further modernizing France. But while Napoleon was transforming France, he was also leading his Grande Armée across Europe in a series of military campaigns known as the Napoleonic Wars. He was a brilliant strategist, known for his ability to quickly adapt to changing circumstances on the battlefield. His victories spread French influence and ideals across the continent. However, these wars were not without cost. They resulted in millions of casualties and drained France's resources. Napoleon's ambition knew no bounds, and his relentless pursuit of power created a state of constant conflict in Europe. Yet despite the turmoil, Napoleon's reign was a time of innovation and progress. His reforms shaped modern France, and his military tactics are still studied in war colleges today. Napoleon's reign was a time of profound transformation for France, but his thirst for power pushed Europe into a state of constant war. His legacy is complex and controversial, a reflection of the man himself, a brilliant reformer and a ruthless conqueror. From the height of power to a lonely island in the Atlantic, the fall of Napoleon was as dramatic as his rise. The factors leading to Napoleon's downfall were numerous and complex, but two key events stand out as turning points in his fate: the disastrous Russian campaign and the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon's Russian campaign, which began in the summer of 1812, was a catastrophic failure. He marched into Russia with nearly 500,000 men, but returned with only a fraction of that number. The brutal Russian winter, coupled with the scorched earth tactics of the Russian army, decimated Napoleon's forces. This was a blow from which Napoleon and his reputation never fully recovered. The Battle of Waterloo, which took place in June of 1815, was Napoleon's final stand. Here he faced off against the armies of Britain and Prussia, led by the Duke of Wellington and Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher respectively. Despite a fiercely fought battle, Napoleon was defeated. This loss marked the end of his rule as Emperor of the French, and he was subsequently captured and exiled. Napoleon's first place of exile was the Mediterranean island of Elba. Although he was given sovereignty over the island, his ambitions were not so easily contained. In a daring move, he escaped from Elba in February of 1815 and returned to France, where he resumed power for a brief period known as the 100 Days. However, his triumphant return was short-lived. After his defeat at Waterloo, he was exiled once more, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. Here, on this isolated island, thousands of miles away from his homeland, Napoleon spent the last 6 years of his life. The man who once stood at the pinnacle of power, who commanded vast armies and ruled an empire that stretched across Europe, was reduced to a life of solitude. He passed his final days writing his memoirs, reflecting on his life and his fall from grace. The man who once commanded armies and ruled an empire spent his final days in solitude, thousands of miles away from his homeland. Napoleon Bonaparte, a man whose legacy continues to shape our world today. As we journey into the final chapter of Napoleon's story, we delve into the enduring impact of his rule. To start, we can't overlook the Napoleonic Code, a cornerstone of civil law jurisdictions, and a testament to Napoleon's knack for reform. This legal code, enacted in the early 19th century, was revolutionary for its time, enshrining principles like equality before the law, the secular nature of the state, and the protection of civil liberties. Though not without its flaws, the Napoleonic Code is still in force, in one form or another, in many countries around the world. Then we have the spread of nationalism, a potent force that Napoleon both harnessed and unleashed. His conquests and reforms ignited nationalistic sentiments across Europe, setting the stage for the tumultuous century that followed. The surge of nationalism, for better or worse, has been a defining feature of modern history, its roots tracing back to Napoleon's rule. But the legacy of Napoleon is not without its controversies. His military campaigns, marked by both strategic brilliance and devastating loss, claimed countless lives. Some see him as a ruthless conqueror, a tyrant driven by insatiable ambition. Others view him as a champion of the French Revolution's ideals, a reformer who modernized France and reshaped Europe. The debate over Napoleon's true nature continues to this day, reflecting the complexities of his rule. His reign was a time of sweeping changes, of progress and turmoil, of grandeur and tragedy. He was a man of contrasts, a figure larger than life, who left an indelible mark on the world. Whether viewed as a tyrant or a reformer, Napoleon Bonaparte's impact on history is undeniable. His story, a testament to the power of ambition, the allure of power, and the cost of overreach. And so we close the book on Napoleon, but the echoes of his legacy continue to reverberate, shaping our world in ways both seen and unseen.